Take two. All right, guys. Haven't seen you in a while. Been busy doing DV's top secret work. But customer gave a call up and says, "Hey, those Vortec heads you did for me, I want to build something with them." They've been sitting around for probably over a year. I did a couple videos on these. I think I even ran them through the IOP program. But when I was cleaning them up to put them in the box, I said, I think DV would do a couple things different on these. So what do you think I did? I did a little change here and a little change there, and I basically did it as a little learning exercise for myself. And these worked pretty well before. Let's see if we can get some gains on them, because I think this project has changed several times. It was designed as a very high torque street piece, which he specified he wanted 194 1.5 valves, which is what the EQ head comes with. I don't think these are cast in New Zealand anymore. I think these are cast in China, because they don't look anything like the ones I used to do in New Zealand. They were really nice. I did leave the chambers a little tight. You can see by the edge of where the gasket was. He wanted a relatively high compression on it. And I think the question recently was, would I be able to use them on a 383? Well, we're going to discuss that today. And we're going to, he can look this video up and get some input on it. Now, I also did a wind dual plane for this. That's on one of my old videos as well. That turned out quite well. But it did knock the flow down on the head quite a bit, just like they all do. Because, I remember testing Edelbrock RPM Performer. It only flowed like 220. So you put that on a head that flows more than 220, it's not flowing 220 anymore, So I did want to do the liquid flow on it, and it handles liquid quite nicely. I really kind of like the way it makes a big wide spot on the bowl. It peppers the plug. It gets a little bit on the chamber. I think that handles liquid flow quite well. Now, it is Vortec design, so it's got a really high short side radius. You can see right on the casting right there. Look how deep this is. Okay, so it's got a very high short side radius. Yeah, I can knock that short side radius down and get more high lift flow, but it kind of ruins the street curve. We want meat in the middle of the curve, right? Take a look at the valve. We got a decent pattern all around that valve. I think that looks pretty damn good. Now, somewhere on this channel, I did an IOP program, and I took those flows that were on the IOP program, and I compared it to today's flows. And they are hit or miss, just like anything. When you change something, you're going to gain in one spot, you're going to lose in another spot. Well, I wanted to see whether, without upgrading it to bigger valves, part of the conversation with the customer was, hey, I want you to take those EQs and cut them for 1.6202s and see what you can get out of them. And I'm like, they're basically done. I don't really want to do that, And I said, you know what? I said to myself, you know what? How about if I put a little time into what we got and see how well it'll do a 383. Now, whether he uses that intake manifold or he goes to a single plane would make a huge difference, right? I would say use the dual plane first and see what it's like. But you can see I did pluses and minuses from the IOP program. And doing a few DV tricks, I did gain in the upper range, but I'd lost a little bit in the mid. I mean, it's still pretty good. 206.2 at 300 is not bad, but I was like 210 or 211, which is really unusually high for 194. I actually like the swirl curve. It's a little more swirly than I would like, but if I wanted to, I can tell by the short side speeds. I could do a little change over here and I could knock that back a bit. But I don't want to do that because I risk losing more of this when I change that short side radius. And I really don't want to do that. Compare these numbers to like an enforcer casting. And remember, these only start out at like 170 cc's. And I didn't take that much metal out of them, so they're still really tight. The exhaust, I did the same type of thing. I did a little DV work on it, and it was hit and miss. Mostly miss, actually. Sorry, DV. Just the way cookie crumbles sometimes. I did change the valve job a little bit. It's basically a four-angle valve job on both of them now. And I forgot what I was talking about. Oh well. Very hot in the garage today. These flows all were done at 82 plus degrees, so you could subtract a few CFM here and there off of that. Take a look at our push rod pinch. I took it at 550 because that's a good hydraulic roller lift for a street engine. 550 is, you know, reasonable. So we're right around 300 for your pinch. Notice how even we are on the roof, which is good. And with just a little high center of the cylinder short side radius. Not that big a deal. You know, this doesn't look that great. You see minuses, but look how well it flowed with a pipe. This was inch and 5/8. This was inch and 7/8. Plenty of flow for a street exhaust. This is a tiny exhaust port. We're going to show you them. And the exhaust speeds are actually quite good, right? Take a look at the top, all 300 plus. In the middle, not bad. We got one dead spot right in the center. And that 196 is a little low. Let's take a look at the casting. Let's hold on. Okay. Look down his throat. It's got a little WD-40 on it, so it's shiny. Really didn't change the shapes much. It does have more area in key spots, which is why it flows way better than it did stock. Okay, a little tough to see the short side radius, but it's had some work done to it. It works quite well for what it is. Okay, we can see the little exhaust port, and it is small. Okay, I was able to get a much better shape on the exhaust of the New Zealand casting, but it also had bigger valves, so it was a different beast. The New Zealand casting on the exhaust got like 200 on the exhaust at like 0.6 with no pipe. And the New Zealand cut for a 202 with some work done to it went 275. These are more like 248 at the same lift. But remember, the idea of this project was a street combo, right? So big question is, can we get it done? If he took these and he bolted them on a 383, put a hydraulic roller cam on it, some headers, and a full-body Chevy sedan, probably 3,400 pounds, think he'd be happy driving it around the street? Okay, you got some funny shadows on it because it's got a little WD-40 on it. But you can see it's still a tiny exhaust port. If you look at the size of the bolt holes, it really is quite small. Which is what you want on a street engine. You want a small, fast exhaust port to give you a nice depression on your overlap, right? Okay. A quick look at it from this angle. It's got a decent shape to it. Okay, we're just going to give a final look at this exhaust short side radius. It's quite high. It's a little on the narrow side, but it works for what it is. Remember, if you make it wider, what's that going to do to your air speeds? It's always nice to have, you know, a junk head. We can, you know, do what you want to and then cut it up and see what you got. But on something like this that you absolutely have to make work, better off keeping it a little bit smaller. All right, guys. Figured I might as well post something. I don't think I posted anything in over a week. So the other one will get cleaned up and oiled and boxed, and these will go out to the customer. I still have more work for DV to do with the Mission Impossible open chamber head and the 1,000 horsepower Dart 9-degree heads. Those are an interesting learning curve, let me tell you guys. I got to get all of that and put it through the IOP program. Stan sent me a link to his latest IOP program, which I'm going to have to figure out and get downloaded and test that out. Larry Moe sent me something too he wants me to try out. Been super busy though also, guys. I actually took a couple days off from work to catch up. But still on call, so, you know, Monday morning I was called twice before 7:30. You know how it is. They can't live without me. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Missed you all. Have a good night.